Hey guys, so it's been a while since I've posted a video. The move and everything else in my life changing right now has made it really hard to post a lot of videos on my channel, but hopefully now I'll be back in schedule and everything else will fall into place, hopefully. I didn't really know what to talk about today, and one of my friends just recently went through a breakup, so I thought I'd talk about my breakups and how I got through them and all the different emotional levels I went through going through a breakup and where I'm at today. So I guess I should start with I've had 4 relationships, 2 of them very serious, the other 2 not so much. They didn't really last more than a few months, but the 2 that were the long term were actually my first 2 relationships. I'm not sure if those 2 relationships ending and how they ended screwed my view up of what a relationship should be, and that's why I'm not in a relationship now, but who knows. So I guess I'll start with my first relationship. I mean, it was my first relationship with a guy, and I didn't want anything to fail. I wanted him to be my first everything, and I didn't want someone else to do anything with me. And I think that's why I held on to that relationship a lot longer than I should have, just because I was physically abused and mentally abused in that relationship, and I actually ended up moving states to be with this person because my family wasn't too supportive of me being gay when I first came out. I think with that relationship it took my friends seeing him actually physically hurting me for them to actually push him out of my life. And even though I knew it was a good thing and I knew that I shouldn't be in that relationship, it was still extremely hard for the breakup to happen, especially since I was still at the same school with him and would occasionally bump into him because I didn't really go to a large campus when I was dating him. I would say one of the really hard things with that breakup was just the fact that we had a lot of the same friends. So when it came to hanging out with friends, it was pretty much I had to make sure that he wasn't there when I hung out, just because him and I went through several breakups and always got back together, and it was so unhealthy and I just needed to get out of that. And if I saw him, if I hung out with him and we were having a good time, it would make me want to get back together with him. So I really had to cut him out. Luckily for me, the last time I cut him out, I started talking to this other guy, and he ended up coming down to see me at school, and we actually hit it off right away. It was funny because him and I said that we weren't going to date because we had both gotten out of really crappy relationships beforehand, and I guess it just fell into place. And that relationship was like polar opposites of my first relationship. He was one of the sweetest guys in the world. He would never lay a hand on me. He was a little bit insecure, and that was probably one of the reasons the relationship came to an end for me and him. This guy was the one that I ended up dating long term as well. He actually transferred schools to be with me, which is funny because that's what I did for my first boyfriend, and it didn't really work out for me. And I guess it didn't really work out for him either. But that breakup was extremely hard for me just because I had planned on spending the rest of my life with him, and it didn't end up that way. I think it was extremely hard just because I had pretty much adopted his family as my own, and when he ended it with me, we ended up breaking up and not talking to each other, and it was like breaking up with an entire half of my family because I was Uncle Ben and I spent the holidays with them because my family still wasn't very accepting of gay relationships. So it was really hard for me, and that breakup really sucked for me just because he just kind of ended it out of the blue. All relationships have problems, but I didn't think that we were having any problem that would end the relationship. And he packed up and moved out right around our anniversary, and I was just completely shocked. I didn't know how to take it. I got extremely depressed and didn't eat for several days and ended up passing out at work it got to the point where my roommates and coworkers would come into my room and make sure that I was eating. He didn't tell me why we were breaking up, he just said he couldn't do it anymore. And about a month later, he actually told me that he had cheated on me with one of my really close friends, which hurt really bad, and it sucked. And he had actually moved out and moved in with another guy, not my friend. And it was really bad just because I actually stayed at my friend's house because I was so depressed and needed someone to be around me. And he was actually the reason, or part of the reason, why my relationship ended. And he pretended like he had no clue that that had actually happened. The crappy thing about breakups, for me at least, with my last one that I went through, people that you thought were your friends, at least in the gay world, when they come over to like help you cheer up, they go a little bit more in a sexual way, and that was definitely not what I needed at the time. The one nice thing was my sister actually showed up. She drove all the way from Virginia to West Virginia to be with me, and she cheered me up a little bit, but it was really hard still because she had to leave to go back to school, and my friends had work, and there was lots of times when I was just alone thinking. I went through all the phases of going through Facebook, sitting there liking and commenting on pictures, saying that I wish that we still had this again. And I went through the whole texting him nonstop, hoping that he would want to get back together with me. And I had lots of friends telling me not to do that, but I did it anyway. It was just extremely hard because I'd planned my life around him. Like, I was planning on being with him forever, and we had just gotten an apartment together, we had a cat together, and things just fell apart. On my last YouTube channel, I actually did a video about what it was like healing a whole year after the breakup. I actually did it on the exact anniversary of the breakup, and I just talked about what it was like to have broken up and all the different things I went through over that year. And I would say the best way to get through a breakup is surround yourself with people. Try not to spend any time alone unless you have to. Throw yourself into your work and focus on you, just because in the end you've only got yourself, and relationships end and it sucks, but you've got to get through it, and you can't let a relationship that ended ruin your future. I know when I moved to Florida, I didn't give a lot of guys chances just because I'd just gotten through a breakup and I really needed to be by myself. And I mean, now it's 5 years after the breakup, and I am a completely different person, and I don't really know what type of effect that breakup had on my life. I know that I've been on a lot of dates, and my two most recent boyfriends, they didn't really last long. I don't know if it has to do with the fact that we just weren't compatible, or if I'm just not ready for a relationship again right now. I don't really know. I would like to find someone, but I feel like there's a lot of times where I'm still looking for what I had with my previous boyfriend and hoping that I can find that feeling again, just because it was such an amazing feeling. Like, everyone knew about us, everyone was cheering us on, everyone wanted what we had, and it ended, and it was really weird and hard for me to deal with at first. And now it just kind of seems like a really distant memory. I don't really remember all those amazing feelings anymore. I can still look through pictures and remember certain things about the events and stuff that was happening while that picture was taken. But I mean, I've gotten stronger, I've gone on a lot of dates, I've met a lot of really nice people, and I just want to say, don't give up, and I hope you guys that are going through breakups or dealing with heartbreak can push through and find people to hang out with just to keep yourself occupied. I'd like to hear your stories, so if you want, you can leave comments in the comment box below, or you can send me a personal message and talk to me. I'm always willing to talk to you guys. But I'm gonna go. This is already a long video, and I will see you guys next time. Bye.